Hey everyone, welcome to Otaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host, OD, and today we'll be reviewing and analyzing chapter 1102 of One Piece. Sheesh, that's gonna be a mouthful. I gotta say like 1102 or I gotta figure out a shorter way to do that because oh my god, it's becoming a mouthful. Anyway, if this is your first time on my channel or you've been here before but haven't done so already, would greatly appreciate if you could do your boy a solid like, share, and subscribe. Would mean the absolute world to me. Anyway, without much further ado, let's get into the review. So, pretty interesting chapter. Not gonna lie, I liked it overall, but it did feel like one of my most hated episodes in anime, and those are recap episodes. I loathe recap episodes in series, and this kind of almost seemed like one where it's not exactly recapping things, but we're getting them from an alternate perspective. But oddly enough, I enjoyed it. Usually I'm frustrated. I'm like, in my opinion, a recap episode, the reason I loathe it so much is because instead of getting new information, instead of learning new things, getting to see new things, getting plot progression, we're just rehashing old stuff. And so it feels like a wasted episode, a wasted chapter where like information that like I could have had, things I could have been seeing, I'm not going to get until another chapter. But this one was really interesting. This one answers, I think, a lot of the community's questions about like, what was Kuma doing during this? What was Kuma's mindset during this? Why did he never do this? Blah, blah, blah. And I think it was really good to have a chapter that kind of put all of that on the line. Also, on top of that, I just really enjoyed the fact that, the entire time I was reading this, I was like, there's a crescendo coming. Like, this is building up to like, I think we're pretty much done with the flashbacks. I think we're over that now, or at least Kuma's flashback, and now we're getting back to the main story. I think Kuma's going to arrive, and this was all just, I've said it in countless videos, a setup chapter. And I think it's setting up something tremendous for next chapter, and I'm super excited. But despite there being a lot of recap in this chapter, there were a couple things that happened that I do want to talk about. So first, let's start off with Joribani. Now, when Luffy entered the New World or whatever, actually, this is before he became a supernova. But yeah, so Luffy's doing his thing. He defeated Arlong, got the $30 million berry, 30 million berry bounty. While he's doing that, Joribani is doing her own thing. She's a pirate. She's having them all call her captain and stuff. And that's super awesome, right? And it's kind of funny because they go to fight these Marines, and these Marines are like, oh, Joribani is terrible. She ravaged a island full of old people and kids. And I just think it's so hilarious because obviously now they're probably hip to the fact that like, oh, it's her Delphin ability. But I think it's kind of hilarious that maybe for the first, starting portion of her journey, that's what she was notorious for. Kind of like Kid, where like Kid had a really high bounty because he was, bad and did really bad things and caused a lot of destruction in his wake. Joribani unfortunately got a bad rep for, attacking the elderly and the young. And so that probably contributed a lot to her initial bounties and such. So anyway, what Bonnie actually is doing this entire time seems to be visiting islands where there have been spottings or, rumors of Kuma being at. So maybe something happens that, gets dropped in the world newspaper or whatever. Kuma sighted here, oh, the warlords are going here. And she's like, okay, this would be a great opportunity for me to go and see my father. Unfortunately, every time she gets close, every time she's about to, meet with her father, Kuma just paws himself away. It's so freaking cruel. Part of me is just like, damn, dude, just like, meet her. This is messed up. It kind of reminds me of a lot of series like, you have Gon and you have Usopp's you have Usopp's dad and stuff like that, where it's like, yo, just visit your kid real quick. But, maybe it's just, once again, the agreement he made. Also, the fact that, once he meets her, it's going to be that much harder for him to abide by the rules. And he knows himself and knows that, like, he's going to struggle. But, oh, it really put a dagger in my heart, right? And so we see a scene with Luffy celebrating his new bounty, and Dragon's like, I'm gonna go to Lobe Town. Sabo's like, why? Dragon's like, no reason. So it's kind of, I don't know. To this day, that bothers me. I've gotten over it, but the whole Sabo and amnesia whole plot twist thing is just I like it as much as I like the Big Mom amnesia thing that happened in Wano. So I was really hoping Wano would be where it got reconciled, or that we wouldn't have even gotten Big Mom in Wano, that we would have got her in Elbaf. So I still have so many qualms and issues with that. We have Smoker looking at the bounty. We have Ace bragging about his brother to Jinbei, to which Jinbei's like, a kid like this beat Arlong. You have Kuma looking at the bounty poster and realizing just, how much potential Luffy actually has and how much Luffy actually reminds him of Nika. So a lot of people after the last chapter were like, all right, it's official. Kuma knew. Kuma knew that Luffy was Nika. And according to this entire chapter, that doesn't seem to be the case. It kind of seems like Kuma had an inkling. Kuma had an inkling that something was special about Luffy, but it was more so along the lines of he has traits, behaviors, and attributes that are similar to Nika, and that's why I like him. Not because he thought he was Nika, or that this was like the second coming of Nika, second coming of Joy Boy, what have you. It was like, no, he behaves and acts and, does things in a manner that is Nika-like. Therefore, I support and I root for him because, it's like he's Christ-like, he's Nika-like. So I like him. So I think that's actually the case here. I don't think Kuma knew, for certain that this was Nika, the god that he has worshipped this entire time. Also, speaking of knowing it's Nika, I think it's also kind of cool how while looking for Kuma, Bonnie was like, yeah, we're going to keep looking for Kuma, but if we just so happen to find Nika along the way, that would be awesome too. I can't wait to tell my dad that I found Nika. So I'm wondering how this is going to play into the later story. I've been seeing a lot of YouTubers talk about the fact that Bonnie might join the crew. Honestly, that would be super cool. The fact that she also can replicate Nika powers, that she would, she worships Nika. She holds all those, what's the word I'm looking for? Those traits and ideals and stuff like that. So I could see her having a spot on the crew. Honestly, there's a lot of people I wish were on the crew. I think I said this last review. There's so many people I wish were on the crew. So many people I think fit into the crew dynamic. I think the issue with this is, at the end of the day, it is a finite story, and the more crewmates we add, the more crew interactions we'll need. And we've already, let's be honest, a lot of people have already complained that since post time skip, we truly haven't really gotten those core like crewmate interactions that we crave, that we really wanted. So just adding to that would be really, really difficult. But at the end of the day, I do feel like Luffy is like a pirate, and pirate crews usually had I forget what I said on my last review, but I think 35 to 150 crewmates. So it's not outlandish for him to have these people, but for the sake of the story, it's understandable to keep it small. We even have, the president with Shanks, where like, he doesn't have a big crew either. I can only think of like 6 of his core crewmates, and then maybe like there being 10 total overall. So Luffy doesn't really need more crewmates, but I would love if Yamato was there. I would love if Carrot was there. I would love if, Joribani joined. And there's some other people too. Some, wild cards. Like a lot of people wanted Aokiji. A lot of people wanted Mr. 2. A lot of people wanted, who am I thinking? There's just a lot of people that could fit on the Straw Hat crew. Anyway, I think it was super cute how Gyogyo or however his name is pronounced, is the one that taught Bonnie how to put on lipstick. So this whole time, something that we just thought was just a general, like, character appearance trait, just something that's just how it is. It kind of reminded us because like Big Mom also kind of does her lipstick in that manner. It turns out that there's actually another really cool thing about like One Piece, things that aren't important that you don't care about. When there's reasons given or just background given to them, they're enjoyable. Does it change that much? No, but does it like go, does it just give a little bit more depth to the world and the characters? Yes. And so the reason she wears her makeup like that is because she was taught by Gyogyo, who has no authority teaching a woman how to put on her lipstick. So that's actually hilarious, and I love it. Also, I love the fact that she has jewelry on her cheek because Kuma used to call her call her disease, her sapphire scale jewelry, and she's worried that maybe he won't recognize her when she's older or in her older form. So he puts actual jewelry on her cheek so that it's easier for Kuma to identify her. So I thought that was really sweet. I thought that was really cute. It's just one of those moments where it's like, is it the chicken or the egg? How much did Oda have planned? If Oda planned this from the jump, it just further goes to show what a phenomenal writer he is. If he didn't, it still is a really creative way to take something he already had and then delve into it and flesh it out more, which honestly is still respectable. Either way, it's honestly mad kudos and respect to Oda. Anyway, Kuma tells Vegapunk that Dragon has a son. Honestly, I thought that was super fucked up. I didn't like that scene. We immediately get a prompt rationalization, which is like, well, you're going to be in my memories anyway, so I might as well tell you, which I agree. But do you not remember what happened when you made the initial deal with Vegapunk to treat Bonnie? There were eyes and ears inside the lab that, relayed that information to the Gorosei, which is why you ended up in this situation in the first place. So if you were just out loud talking about it, this is now information that the Gorosei may have picked up. Now, I don't think this was Oda's intention. Maybe it doesn't happen this way, or maybe we'll find out later that because of him, they now know. But Kuma, come on, you're smarter than that. That was weird. And also, like, let him find out through the memories. I don't know. That rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. So anyway, we continue to see Kuma go through, the various arcs we've seen. We have Thriller Bark and stuff. We have the moment where, he's standing before Zoro. And I just love the fact that, before when we met Kuma, he was an antagonist, right? He was this very strong, powerful, silent force that was kind of antagonistic to the Straw Hats. Now we're re-seeing these scenes through the lens of Kuma, and we're getting his perspective and about stuff. Like, I love how he mentions that the amount of damage that Zoro took would be enough to knock him out, which I think just goes further for people like me who are big Zoro stans to be like, yeah, our dude. Like, it was already impressive then, and now for Kuma to say like this is enough pain that would have given him problems. The same dude that would hold a church service every Sunday and expose himself to the problems of like hundreds of like seniors and other people. Yeah, I rocks with that. Although I'm not gonna lie, when we get that flashback and when the first time we see like Kuma do it, the bubble, in my opinion, looked way more massive than what Zoro showed. But I guess that's just a scaling issue on my end. It's really hard to scale those kind of things. But I was like, seems a little capish. Or maybe it's not the size, but the density. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of pain, but the severity of the pain isn't that bad. So maybe it wasn't a lot of pain, but the severity of the pain that it held was a lot. So I don't know. That's just me, spitballing and speculating, right? And so, he keeps traveling and keeps running into spots where Bonnie is. Bonnie's in this restaurant eating, and you see this giant Kuma sneaking around watching her through the windows. And I just think it's freaking hilarious because like everyone outside of these restaurants and stuff is like looking at him like, we can see you. It reminds me, I don't know if this Chopper still, I think he might have done it recently, but does Chopper still have the gag where he's like hiding, but like the wrong way? Like instead of hiding behind stuff, he's hiding like in plain sight. So it kind of reminds me of that gag where it's like, dude, you're not inconspicuous, but I guess to everyone but her, he is, right? And so while he's doing that, spying on Bonnie and stuff like that, he hears about the pirate that hit the Celestial Dragons. He's like, that's crazy. I gotta see who did that. That's super taboo. And you have to realize for Kuma, that's like extra, extra crazy because this was a dude that was a slave to celestial dragons a big chunk of his life. So like he's like, damn, who like would really go about doing that? And to see that it's like Luffy again is super crazy. To see that he did it to save a fishman is super crazy. It just further reinforces his belief that that Luffy is Nika-ish. That there is, even if Luffy isn't Nika, maybe he's an apostle, maybe he's a prophet, maybe he's someone that's inherited Nika's will, maybe he's a fellow worshiper of Nika, something or the other. But like Kuma is really, really realizing that there is way, way, way more than meets the eye with Luffy. And so, he comes, shows up, and starts sending the Straw Hats away. Luffy's crying. He's like, I couldn't save any of them. So yeah, Kuma's like, no, you haven't failed them. You weren't ready yet, but I'm gonna help you get ready. This is the new world. There's a lot at stake here. You guys have the potential. You just have to be properly prepared, and that's what I'm gonna do for you. So that was super awesome. So then we go back to Egghead, and Vegapunk is just screaming at Saturn because Saturn is requesting that they put a self-destruct mechanism in Kuma's body, which I was just so happy about. Not because I want that for Vegapunk, or sorry, for Kuma, but it just wouldn't make sense otherwise. Like, come on, this dude is a destructive weapon. You don't know what's gonna happen. It could backfire. This is experimental science at work. Why wouldn't you have some kind of contingency plan? And so it makes the competence of the Orosei, or quote unquote, or Saturn in general better for me, right? And so once again, Vegapunk not realizing like that he has no power in this situation, basically complains about doing it, like really not understanding who he's working for. And it's kind of ridiculous to me that like he's not quite grasping who he's working for. Now, it would be one thing if he tried to leverage himself, like, hey, if you guys want me to continue working, or you have to do blah blah blah. Like, if he had played it like that a little bit, I would understand. But he doesn't play it like that. He just like tries to appeal to Saturn's like sense of like morals and ethics, which I've said this time and time and again in like various reviews. But like Vegapunk is naive, but some of his naive, it just kind of borders on like ignorance. Like, it's becoming really annoying how this smartest dude ever can be so stupid at times. And I get that it's intentionally part of his character, but like, Jesus Christ, Vegapunk, like, let's get it together. So anyway, Vegapunk tries to pitch some idea where there's like a ego switch where he create a circuit that'll let Kuma be Kuma one moment, and then cold-hearted killer one moment. And I think this is just a compromise so that in some way, shape, or form that Kuma can retain humanity. But like Saturn's like, no, like there's no compromises. No, that's a terrible idea. We want a, a thoughtless, no thinking robot. Like, that doesn't benefit us at all. That doesn't help us at all. So yeah, we're not doing that, right? And so Saturn says erase his individuality completely and make sure no trace of him remains. Um, and you won't be forgiven if you do. Also, we kind of all speculated on this because of his title, but he makes it very clear that he is a scientist, that he is smart, that he can figure things out himself. So that answers some of my questions because earlier I would complain about like why can't he just do certain things and say that he did them? Why couldn't he, with the Seraphim, for example, secretly make his authority order the highest and just tell them like, hey, your authority order is the highest. So it seems that Saturn would have checked over his work and seen if there were any backdoors or exploits or any untoward that he did not like. So anyway, it's finally the time for Kuma to completely have his memories taken out and be turned into um a cyborg. He also made Vegapunk a promise, apparently, that he would give him the entirety of his memories. I don't remember that, but maybe that's happened, or maybe that's off screen, right? And Vegapunk has created some kind of device that will allow Kuma's memories to stay intact, and allow him to interact and interface with it without the bubble disappearing. Because Kuma explains that once it's touched, the memories are gone forever, like a copy. Once it's touched, that copy is transferred to someone else and can't be readily accessed again. So that basically just tells us that, damn, Bonnie, you kind of got rid of all access Kuma's memories, which honestly isn't that bad. The person that, as his next of kin, if you were, she is the one that should receive them. So I totally get it. And so he dotes a little bit more about Luffy and how Luffy reminds of him, and how he believes it'll be him that frees the sea, right? And so he finally goes through the procedure, and everyone in the lab, from Vegapunk to the lab assistants to Sentomaru, sees out Kuma's life play before them. And as Vegapunk is going to pull the switch, Vegapunk is completely in tears, especially because Kuma, before it happens, basically says, like, I wonder how much pain and suffering I cause people. And after you see the memories, it's like, are you serious? Like, it's just like, there are really nice people out there in the world. I used to be one of them. I'm not anymore, but there are really nice people out in the world that like just do for others all the time, and it's just crazy to, they're the kind of people that don't have boundaries, that are so selfless that when they want to do something selfish that isn't even that selfish, that is like maybe self-care or something, they think they're being selfish. And it's just one of those moments where it's like, shut up, bro. Shut up. Like, you haven't ruined anyone's life. Almost everything you've done has been people's lives better. And the only people that hurt are the people that are going to miss you because of the sacrifice that you're going. That hurt. And we see the egghead scientist crying. We see him praying and stuff like that. Sentomaru giving his respect. Then he pulls the lever. Pull the lever, Kronk. And Kuma is a, and all his last words were, "If please wish." That's how the chapter ends. That was that was great chapter. Like I said, a lot of it really felt like a recap chapter, but in one of the best ways ever. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I thought it was thoroughly done well. I think Oda is finally done beating our heartstrings. Well, he's gonna screw us over. I'm gonna call it now. I don't think Kuma survives. Oda does like to save people and doesn't believe my poster up, but doesn't believe in killing people. But I think this is a point that has to be made. This is a sacrifice that has to be honored. I don't think Kuma's making this out of this alive. I do think we're gonna get some really touching moments with Kuma and Bonnie, Kuma, Bonnie, and Nika, with Kuma, Bonnie, Nika, and the robot Vegapunk. I think we're gonna get some really touching moments, but at the end of the day, I just don't see how uh, Kuma gets out of this one alive. And I think one of the biggest questions of this chapter, well, actually two actually. I'm gonna say the one I originally was gonna say is, did Vegapunk actually go through with the self destruct feature inside of Kuma? That's a really big question. Saturn said himself that didn't they would know. So basically, did Vegapunk call his bluff and do it anyway, or did Vegapunk do it in such a way that it looked like a self destruct feature, but it really wasn't? And the other thing I was gonna say is, did he actually end up implementing the split personality switch? I don't think he did. I don't think he ended up putting the split personality switch. As far as the self destruct feature, I don't think. I think he may have done that. Because at the end of the day, Kuma has to die, and it would be awesome if, like, maybe he did his self destruct feature in a way that helped people. Um, but that's weird to me too, because why didn't they blow him up, like, when he was, messing up Mary Joie, and when he left Mary Joie? Why wasn't it implemented then? So I'm very curious about that. Maybe that's part of the reason. Maybe that's all part of the reason why they're so mad, and why they were like, all right, take Vegapunk out, because he didn't put in the solid destruct feature, and they were like, we can't forgive you for that. So I'm very curious about that. What was I about to say? But yeah, the main reason I don't think he has that split personality switch is, I think at the end of the day, it's all gonna come down to the wills of living things cannot be overridden. There's nothing you can do no matter what. That's how the egghead arc started. I think that's how it's going to end. I think there's going to be a moment where Kuma rebels against his programming when he with Bonnie, the love of his life, child, need the object of desire. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning into Otaku Talk. I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. I hope you guys have, love and blessing of your families. And if you guys don't have family, close with your family, I just hope you take care of yourself and you way. Otaku Talk, you take care, like, share, subscribe. Peace.